Tonight, while you sleep, you trade lives with a peasant born in 1347. He wakes up in your apartment. You wake up in his. Right now, he is standing in your bathroom staring at the faucet, waiting for someone to come and fill the basin. And you feel sorry for him. Everyone does. The poor man dropped into a world of fluorescent lights and automatic doors that open like magic. Hold on to that feeling. By the end, you will want to know who should have pitied whom. Start with the body, because the body reacts before the mind catches up. He finds your shower. He turns the wrong knob and gets blasted with cold, then scalding hot, then cold again. He does not know what a thermostat is. But here is what he does know. He has not had a proper bath in 6 months. The water alone is a miracle. Back home, bathing meant hauling buckets from a river, heating them over a fire, and sharing the same gray tub with your entire family. His body is not confused by your shower. His body is overwhelmed by it. He finds your fridge next. He opens it and stands there for a long time, not because he is amazed, though he is, because he is trying to understand why the box is cold. There is no ice, no snow. The cold is just there, waiting, on demand. Back home, keeping food from rotting was a daily battle. You salted things, you smoked things, you ate things before they turned. The idea that a box in your wall simply stops time for food is not a convenience to him. It is witchcraft. Meanwhile, you wake up in his world. The first thing that hits you is not the smell, though the smell is bad. It is the cold. Bone-deep, permanent, inescapable cold. His house has a single fire in the center of one room, shared by the family and on bitter nights, the livestock too. You will spend your first 3 days doing nothing but trying to stay warm. He, in your apartment, has already figured out the radiator. He does not know what it is, but he pressed himself against it and did not let go for an hour. So far, the scoreboard reads the way everyone expected. He cannot work your machines. But his body is warm and clean. Yours is freezing in a field. Look closer, because something is hiding in plain sight. He steps outside and the noise is extraordinary. Not just loud, layered, engines and music and 1,000 conversations bleeding into each other. His world was readable. Every sound meant something. Here, every sound means nothing or everything, and he cannot tell which. So his body panics, quietly, for days. He walks close to buildings. He watches other people constantly, using them as a guide the way you would use a map. But then something happens. By the second week, the traffic resolves. The patterns emerge. He learns to cross the street. Not because someone explained it. Because he watched, waited, and read the pattern the same way he once read which clouds meant rain. Nobody handed him a manual. He wrote one himself. Now picture you, in his world, surrounded by food you cannot see. He reads that land like a menu. You look at the same fields and see scenery. Half the wild plants around you are dinner. Half are a slow death. You cannot tell which is which. He spent 20 years learning that map. You have a weak and a growling stomach. By day 4, you eat something that looks harmless. You spend the next 2 days wishing you had not. And that is before the work starts. In his world, you are not a guest. You are a mouth that needs to be fed, which means you contribute or you are resented. The harvest does not wait. You are handed a scythe on your 3rd morning and pointed at a field that stretches further than you want to think about. By noon, your hands are bleeding, and you have done the work of a child. Nobody says anything. They are too tired. Nobody has time to feel sorry for you. He, in your city, finds a different kind of hard. Someone gives him a job. Unloading boxes, stacking shelves. He does it without complaint. He's not afraid of physical work. But at the end of the day, a man hands him a small plastic card and expects gratitude. He does not understand what the card does. In his world, you feed the people who work for you. Bread, ale, a place to sleep. The exchange is direct and visible. The idea that labor turns into a rectangle that turns into numbers that turn into food through a chain of institutions he cannot see takes weeks to make sense of. The technology was never the hard part. The systems were. Because here is what everyone forgets about medieval people. They were not waiting to be rescued by the future. They had already solved survival within the limits of their world. A peasant farmer knew his specific patch of land better than any scientist knows it today. Which corner flooded in spring? Which row the rabbits always hit first? Which week was right for planting, not by the calendar, but by the smell of the soil and the behavior of the birds? That knowledge did not come from books. It came from watching, failing, and being corrected by someone who learned it the same hard way. And it was not just farmers. A blacksmith in 1347 could look at a piece of iron and tell you its quality by the color it turned in the fire. A midwife knew things about the human body that took medicine centuries to write down properly. A carpenter could build a structure that would outlast anything you could assemble from a flat-pack box with an Allen key and a set of instructions. These people were not guessing. They were operating at the absolute limit of what a human being could know about one particular thing. That kind of depth does not come from intelligence alone. It comes from a life spent doing nothing else. You reach for your phone and feel relieved, briefly, before realizing there is no signal. No towers, no satellites, nothing. Your phone is a mirror and a clock and nothing else. Everything you know how to do that does not require a device or a system someone else built. The list is shorter than you thought. Much shorter. He figures out the internet faster than you would expect. Not because he is clever, though he is, but because it behaves like a market. Information flows in, information flows out, things have value. He has been navigating markets since he could walk. He cannot read the screen yet, but he understands the shape of it before most people would guess. And here is the part that quietly changes everything. He is not a limited version of you. The human brain has not meaningfully changed in over 300,000 years. The skull archaeologists dig up from the distant past is the same size, same shape, same structure as the one on your shoulders right now. When researchers found flutes carved from bird bone tens of thousands of years ago, they were not finding primitive music. They were finding perfect pitch, a sense of rhythm, and enough skill to get every hole in exactly the right place using nothing but stone tools. That is not a lesser mind. That is your mind before anything was written down. Raise his child in your city and that child grows up completely unremarkable. Gets into arguments online. Forgets to charge its phone. You could not pick it out of a classroom. He is not a primitive version of you. He is the same version, missing the manual. Which means, given enough time, he writes the manual. He learns the language, first slowly, then fluently. Because the ability to learn language is built into every human who has ever lived. He learns the streets, the unspoken rules of the elevator and the checkout line. He arrives helpless. He does not stay helpless. Notice what did not happen. He did not get smarter. He got context. And after months of adapting, he arrives at exactly one thing he finds genuinely baffling. Not cars. Not planes. Not the glowing rectangle everyone stares at in silence. The fact that you are lonely. In his world, you are never alone unless something has gone badly wrong. You eat together, work together, sleep in the same room as your entire family. You know every person around you by name and history. The idea that a person would live surrounded by hundreds of other people, never learn a single name, and come home to eat alone in front of a screen. To him, this is not an upgrade. This is a kind of suffering your world invented and decided to call freedom. And you, in his world, learn the reverse. There is no door you can close. There is no hour that belongs only to you. Your need for quiet is not something anyone here has the space to understand. You would learn his world eventually. You would never stop missing silence. So go back to the bet. You felt sorry for him at the start. Run the year forward. He adapts. His children, raised here, are indistinguishable from anyone else. You, stripped of your tools and systems, do not bounce back the same way. Not because you are lesser, because almost everything you call your competence is not yours. It is borrowed. Handed down before you were born from thousands of people who already made the mistakes and left the answers behind for you to pick up without ever having to ask. The map that tells you where to go. The recipe that tells you which mushroom feeds you and which one kills you. The medicine that means a cut on your hand will not end your life. You did not figure any of it out. You inherited it. So quietly and in such abundance that you forgot it was not something you earned. He arrived with nothing handed down. Just what the human animal comes with from the start. And it turns out, that is quite a lot.